It's not looking good for new construction condos. The Toronto condo market is experiencing its worst correction in over 35 years, with 2025 sales hitting a low not seen since 1991, and a record-breaking 7,000 units being canceled by developers. And that's not even the craziest thing that I'm going to tell you about later on in this video. My name is Denis Soldo. I'm an agent with eXp. Let's get into it. We're seeing a total sales collapse. New condo sales are down 60% to 1,599. That's the lowest they've been since 1991. These sales have dropped 95% from their peak in 2021. This last December, only 87 new condo units have been sold across the entire GTA. We've gone from our utmost peak to the very bottom from 2021 to where we are now. Every year since then has basically seen a 50% reduction in sales, with last year being even worse at 60%. And not only are sales down, but projects by developers are being canceled at an alarming rate. Last year in 2025, 28 different condo developments were canceled. These were buildings that were planned or were actually happening, but they couldn't get enough people to buy the units, so they couldn't get the financing to continue building, so they had to scrap them entirely. That's over 7,200 condo units vanished. And that's double the amount of cancellations that we saw in 2024. Not only that, but we're starting to see units entering the MLS for sale that are completely new units. And this is making a new record as well. Almost 3,900 units in 2025 were actually completed but never sold. That's a 131% increase from the amount in 2024. And that's 5 times higher than the amount in 2023. Now, one of the scariest things I've read by Urban Nation is the decline in future new construction projects. You can see here in 2025, we had about 30,000 units being completed. Not bad. They're predicting by 2029, it's going all the way down to 0. Now, that's going to affect supply in an unprecedented way. And not only that, it's also going to affect the rest of the economy as well, because we're now losing a lot of jobs. The president of Urban Nation is saying with certainty there's going to be 0 new completed projects by 2029. And he's wondering when or how long into the 2030s it's going to take to actually start seeing new units again. Now, there is a bit of a silver lining to all of this. Some of these canceled projects are actually being repurposed into fully rented units. We're actually at a multi-decade high right now of how many rental purpose-built units are coming to the market. While at the same time, we're at a multi-decade low of how many new condo units for sale for owners is hitting the market as well. Now, this is a pretty good thing in the long run. It allows for more affordable homes for people, but only 8 out of those 28 previously mentioned canceled projects are actually being converted into rental buildings. One of the co-founders of Habitat, Daniel, he's saying that this is not even considered a cycle anymore. And it's saying it's a break into the cycle because we're returning to 1990 levels. However, it's much worse than that due to how much more of a population Canada has now. I mean, for the first time ever, new condo sales have accounted for less than 50% of all condo sales. In 2023, they accounted for 98% of them. And it's really not looking good for investors right now. Investors of condos, of course. 81% of them who are leveraged, they have a mortgage or they're leveraging their property in another way, they got the money to buy it, they're now cash flow negative. Of those investors who bought their properties in, say, 2023, they're losing on average about $600 a month. And some of those investors have had to just give back their pre-construction condos back to the developers. 10% of all these pre-construction condos last year were bought back by the developers because people cannot afford to pay for them. Now, in my opinion, another silver lining to this is we're seeing the micro condo collapse. You know those 300 square foot apartments downtown where your kitchen is your bedroom and your TV is hanging where your microwave should be? Those are hopefully going to stop being built as investors look elsewhere to make their investments, and builders are no longer catering towards them. There's also a little bit more good news here. The average price per square foot of a new condo to buy in Toronto and the GTA has come down. It's come down about 18% since 2024. That sounds pretty awesome until you look at the actual figures. $1,123 per square foot still. That's abnormal. That's obscene. I don't think it should be that high, and it needs to come way down. The benefit of buying a pre-con before was that you're actually getting it cheaper than resale because you had to wait a few years for it to be built. Now you're paying a premium and you still have to wait, and you don't know if the developer is going to increase costs or what they're going to do, or if they're going to delay the projects. As of right now, there's only 2 cities in all of Canada, I'm going to put them up on the screen, where buying is actually cheaper than renting. Everywhere else, every other city in Canada, you are technically better off renting right now, not accounting for any equity you might build up in the future. We're just talking about how the market is right now. So now, most people are probably thinking, well, this is a good thing. Prices are going to come down. That's great news. And you're right, it is great news. But you have to think a little bit more about the bigger picture for Ontario or Canada as a whole as well. All these less new condo housing starts means less jobs for people, which overall affects the economy in a worse way yet again. What we really need to see happening is Ontario reducing development costs so that these builders can come back and build these condos again for everybody where people can actually afford it. Because a lot of the reasoning why the price per square foot is so high is simply because the builders have to pay the government to build the project. So let's do a really quick rundown what it means if you're a buyer, seller, or investor. Obviously, buyers have a ton of choice right now. If I was a buyer, I would be saying, hey, let's go. Let's start searching up these properties that are on the MLS that are brand new and I can still move into them right away, and see if we could go to the developer together and ask them, or, not even ask them, just put in our offer of what we think it's worth and see if they bite. For renters, there's been a little bit of talk lately about this whole back to office thing happening in Toronto. Some are speculating rental prices might go up a little bit because of it, but that is speculation right now. You still have a ton of options out there. And for investors, like we talked about, 81% are losing money right now in the condos. And this isn't, I'm not trying to emphasize any negativity here. It's just, it is what it is. These are the stats that I've been given and what I'm sharing with you. So if you are thinking about buying a condo right now to invest, it better be for a long-term hold. But as we know, condos aren't the greatest for long-term holds anyway. You probably would want to sell it in 5 years. And there's no telling how the market's going to be right now. And once again, I'm Denis Soldo, an agent with eXp Realty. If this video was helpful to you in any way, please do me a big favor and just hit that like button below and press subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one.